Hey everyone, uh, Mark for Glory here. Um, Today we're going to be talking about adaptability, what it means, and how it can benefit you. And today uh, I've got four other people with me. We've got so when I call your name, you can give us a little wave. Got Crystal from Texas
Right.
with acquired ataxia. John from New Zealand with a spinal cord injury. Gavin from Texas with Parkinson's disease, and Kelly in Texas. She has a spinal cord injury and MS, right, Kelly?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe I will go ahead and start with the first question. If anybody can raise their hand and go ahead and answer it. What does adaptability mean to you? Who wants to go first? Okay, Gavin. Sorry. Right.
Adapti- Adaptability to me is
Ah,
it's made
sorry,
most
Gavin. Take you out of the stream. Let's try that again. I'm trying to blow you up here so we can. No, I don't want to see me. I want to see Gavin. Okay. I don't know how to do that. Okay.
The second one, I think.
Second one.
Hmm.
Uh,
Well, that's
no.
good enough.
Yeah.
That's better than,
Okay,
yeah.
Gavin.
Oh, okay. I forgot what I was going to say. No,
What is
adaptability
adapt?
to me is one of the most critical factors in living with a disability or adversity. And I think maybe the way I sum it up is I consider myself a weed. I want to be the most people want to be the rose. The roses need watering and care and sunlight and or flowers in general. They need these things, but I like to think of myself as a weed. They can grow anywhere. Can't a survivor can't be killed. Adaptable, like you know, you can grow in a crack in the concrete or wherever. Weeds will grow up, and the weeds will be survivors, and they will adapt to their surroundings. And they're not the prettiest things to look at, but they survive and find a way, and that's kind of how I like to think of myself and try to strive to be that way.
Anyone else? John, Crystal, Kelly.
I agree with what Gavin said about adaptability, meaning being able to grow amongst varying circumstances. Um, I think it starts with your mindset and your perspective and your attitude, but like overall, adaptability is being able to continue living your best life, accomplish your goals, set new goals, and reach those, and be able to give back to your community, find meaning and purpose in your life, no matter what change in circumstances you face, whether that's a health challenge, a financial challenge, an environmental challenge, um, no matter what adversity or challenge you face, being able to adjust sails and continue um, with a fulfilling, purposeful life for yourself, and that in turn impacting your community in a positive manner.
Crystal, John.
I feel like with adaptability, really been limited. So, especially those of us that have had disabilities for a while, we kind of pass down those tricks and tips for being a being able to adapt and conquer what we're told we can't do. We have to, you know, pass that torch on.
Yeah, no, that sounds really good. I think you guys have summed up what I was thinking, that we have to have the skills to be able to adapt to situations. I've been in a wheelchair 55 years, and I've had to adapt and keep adapting as technology grows. Sometimes it's not suitable for me, so I have to adapt to situations. Also, to me, means having the skills that I can go and travel anywhere I want, and have the skills to survive in a non-friendly or non-wheelchair friendly environment, and also adapt to people's attitudes as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
So
feel like we've been, not just us have been taught how to be, but our family and our friends have been told by higher up people uh, how to how to treat people with disabilities, and they're quickly finding out that that's not always correct, that we have a lot more to offer and to that we can accomplish, beyond what they've told us we can do. So we've got to kind of change the mindset.
Definitely.
so given that, what is your best adaptation that you've found? Anyone?
Everyone's been so polite, aren't they?
Well, why don't you go first since you went last before?
John?
So most probably the best bit of technology or adaptation. So I think for me, I need to have my car converted. So I've got hand controls. Um, that's really the only adaptation I've got in my house. I've just got a standard size kitchen. Um, I'm lucky all the doors are wide enough for my wheelchair to go through. And I think I deliberately kept adaptations around the house to a minimum. So if I go anywhere, I can um, handle going to, if I go to Japan or the States or England, I don't have to rely on people to give me a hand if it's not a wheelchair accessible facility I'm staying at. So really the only adaptation I've got is, besides using a wheelchair, is hand controls in my car.
Um, Kelly or Crystal?
In my home, I don't either live in a technically accessible home that's been adapted, but like it works for me. A few things that I've added to help, utilizing technology for things like a video doorbell, so that I don't have to get back. If I'm not in my chair, I don't have to get back in my chair to go see who it is. I can look and see whether or not is it really something I need to go right now, or like earlier it was a package just dropped off that I can go get the next time I'm up. And it also lets me communicate with people that are at the door to let them know I'm on my way or something like that. So the video doorbell was a completely non-essential adaptation, but certainly has made life a bit easier for me than running to the doorbell all the time.
Right.
About,
Definitely. Yeah.
sorry, Crystal.
I was saying definitely, I agree. The or the camera or the doorbell camera is very essential for us because we can not only know who is at the door for safety, but also it gives us a glimpse. And do we need to rush and get up? Like for some of us that, it takes more time and, it kind of gives us a glimpse of how fast I need to get there to get it. And do I really need to hurt myself to try to answer the door if it's just a package, I mean, when you have people that don't respect, please text me before you come or call before you come or whatever, that is extremely helpful.
Um, and we keep losing Gavin. Let me see if he's back now. Okay. Gavin, are you back?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was
Sorry.
wondering, everyone answered this question. Maybe you have an answer too. What is your best adaptation?
Well, I tell you what, I need to adapt to is some of these phone calls. I don't do well on them because honestly, I try to do too many things, and
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of this, the middle of that, and I thought I could squeeze this in because I want to do it, and it's fun stuff to talk about. It's really helpful stuff, and creating space for everything, something I need to work on. But as far as adaptations, I would say in settings like this, being able to respond, adapt whatever the conversation setting is to.
Oh, there he goes.
Hmm.
But I think, did anyone make out what you're saying? I think he didn't really specify exactly what it was. But maybe we can go on to. Does anyone have any adaptations for in the kitchen?
The kitchen is my nemesis. I mean, I didn't like cooking before, so I certainly don't do a lot of it now. Um, and honestly, so I haven't put a lot of effort into trying to adapt it. But I just do a lot of. I buy produce that's already been cut up for me and pre-made, halfway pre-made things. So cooking is basically combining things and then warming it up. But that's just my preference of the effort level I want to give to anything involving the kitchen.
Anyone else?
I think, like in the kitchen, what I do if I need to get to the hand basin, I'm adapting myself to the standard kitchen. So what I'll do is I'll just open the cupboard doors to give me knee room so I can get to the bench and little things like that. So I've adapted to the kitchen just so, as I said before, I can survive when I go elsewhere. But I mean, there is some really good adaptations I've seen out there, which is part of my job is helping design buildings and things like that. And there's great cupboards now where you can pull it down and the cupboard will actually come down to a nice height, and there's so much stuff out there.
I have been extremely lucky. I mean, I don't know how that's going to be in the future, but where I don't really need that much, I kind of make it adaptable myself, and I can still stand up. So, although I do use my wheelchair most of the time, but so there's not really much adaptability I need other than like driving,
One tip I would pass on that was given to me by another person with a spinal cord injury is I got some long handled tongs like you would use on a grill, and I use those to, if I do use the stove, to turn the knobs, because my knobs are on the back of the stove where I can't reach them without reaching across the burner, and particularly turning it off once the burner's already hot. That's not the safest. So I've got these like really long, they're probably like 18 inches long tongs that I use to turn the stove knob on and off. And that was a tip I wouldn't have thought of myself. I wouldn't have been probably that creative to think that out of the box. And somebody told me, oh, this is what I do. And it was a great solution because they're inexpensive. They could just slide in the cabinet when I'm not using them like 364 days of the year. But the one time I decide I might want to cook something on the stove, I have a way to safely turn the burners off.
Yeah.
I'm making a note of that. It's good.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that you learn so much from your peers. I think just chatting away to people and I've never thought of doing that, and Why didn't I think of that? It's so
Yeah.
simple, you know. Yeah.
There,
Sorry, Chris.
there's definitely adaptability that's needed as different events happen in your life. Specifically, I guess the biggest was when I had my daughter. That was I definitely used tools for that to help me take care of her. Like a boppy was, I guess, the main thing that I really found extremely helpful.
What is it called, and what is it?
A boppy is like a pillow that goes around your waist,
Okay.
and you can like prop them up, or you can also have one that velcros around your, and it's like you can lay the baby in your lap, and you can push your chair and carry her at the same time.
Any other parents here?
No.
No.
Gavin is.
Yeah. So oh
You can see I need a parent.
yeah.
I'm more of a child than a parent, I think.
Well, I'm sorry. I think you're outgrown being for a boppy. Sorry.
I'm sorry, say it again.
I think you're overgrown for a boppy. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, being a parent is hard with a disability, certainly. But luckily, I have a excellent wife that helps a whole lot. It's getting harder. So my children are 16 and 12, about to turn 17 and 13. Teenage years. Those are rough for anybody. So, hopefully they learn some lessons from it as they get older. But right now, there's not a lot they're apparently learning about having a parent with a disability. I guess it's sort of normal to them. As long as they've known me their whole lives, I've had Parkinson's. So they don't see anything different about me, but they do see me kind of declining. And I know they don't talk about it. We don't necessarily talk about it a lot because that's not what teenagers want to talk about. But I know it has an effect below the surface, and so
Right.
well, you hope for the best. You do the best you can, but I know they have their struggles because when they see their father go through struggles, I'm sure it's bound to affect them. But the hope is that long term, it's kind of works out well for them. It's a blessing for them to have lived through something like that.
Well,
Was that a question? I heard something about who's a parent. I don't know if that was a question about. I
Yeah.
don't know if I addressed anyone's question or
Yeah.
not.
You did good.
well, I guess it's also beneficial for them, or maybe because they see how how their parent deals with challenges, and that informs their own attitude towards how they take on life.
Well, that also depends how old they are.
Right.
If they remember what you did or not.
Yeah. It's difficult to be a parent, and no matter what age, no matter what your physical ability, it's difficult to be a child. So you just I try to take every day one day at a time and do the best I can for my children, and hope they learn by example because they're not always listening to me. I know that, but hopefully they sort of pay attention to what we do in the world and how we what they see us do. Hopefully that's on their radar. If not now, memories are there for later.
Sorry, John?
I was going to say, it's interesting. I've got a 5-year-old 2-year-old nephew and niece, and the way they accept my wheelchair is they know there's something wrong. They know I can't walk, but it's just normal to them, you know. Oh, it's okay if you can't run over here or whatever. It's just beautiful, you know. It's because they haven't been poisoned yet by society.
Right,
You know?
right.
Yeah. They just adapt to the situation, or they'll work out how I can join in a game. Yeah.
That's really nice. Those are beautiful moments.
Definitely.
And does anyone here drive? Oh, great. So, I think, John, you mentioned that you have your car adapted for driving. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so there's the hand controls I've got is a radial control. It means that to accelerate, there's just a lever under the steering column, and I just pull it towards my knee, or that's the accelerator. Then I push the bar to the brake pedal, and that's the only adaptation I've got. You can get like a steering knob with the horns and the indicators on, but I've never liked those. So I'm lucky I've got big hands, so with my hand on the hand control, I can reach the indicators and the lights and things like that. And that's the only adaptation. To put my wheelchair in the car, I just pull the wheels off, put my seat back, and I just lift the wheelchair frame and the wheels over me, put it on the back seat, and that's it. I know some people have got adaptable a wheelchair hoist to put the wheelchair on the roof, or even like a crane that will put it in the boot of the car. But at the moment, I'm stubborn. I want to keep having the ability to strip it down. To me, it's a bit of a workout, getting a good stretch.
Kelly,
Mm-hmm.
you have any?
I've got the same type of hand controls to accelerate and brake that John talked about. I also have a tri-pin device on my steering wheel because I don't have the grip strength to hold the wheel to turn. But I don't have any of the blinkers or light adaptations. I just make sure I blinker most of the time. Sometimes I don't quite get it in time because if I'm already braking and I'm like at a traffic light, to let go of the brake to flip the blinker switch is probably worse than just not indicating my turn intention. But I try and usually get it that I can flip my blinker on before it gets to that point. But and then I just always turn the lights on before I start driving. So that's about all. And I load my wheelchair across my body the same way he described. I think that's about it. Yeah.
Gavin?
I don't have any specific physical adaptations. Sometimes, most of the time, it's fairly easy for me to drive. Sometimes, but since I just have to move my feet, left foot, right foot, my arms a little bit, it's almost always possible to drive. I do have some issues at driving long distances or at night, getting sleepy. So my wife has sort of not allowed me to do much of that. So long drives are out, nighttime drives are out, but other than that, I'm good to go. Head out on the highway. Head out around the city anyway, I should say.
So is there any technology or apps that make your life easier?
I use my I don't know what the generic name for it. It's my Alexa thing, my smart home thing. I use that. I've got several lights that are attached to that I can turn lights on and off just with my verbal commands. That's probably the most. I use it for other things, but that's probably the most useful thing I use.
And Gavin?
Yeah, this phone I'm using right now is almost good for everything. It's good for too many things, in fact. But there's so many. You can find almost anything you want at any time. So as long as I have my phone with me, I have most of the tools that I need. But that's a good point about the Google Home, the Alexa Home, smart smart appliances or whatever, all the smart things you can do. Um, so I because I have this phone with me all the time, I don't like other forms of technology. I mean, I try to be as non-technical as possible, but because of my dependence on a phone, um, I get so much from that. But beyond that, I try to keep it as simple as I'm able to. So I can't think of any other technology things that I currently use except some really good readers.
Crystal or John?
For 2 years now, Google has put out some, it's a program called Euphonia, and they like send you phrases and singular words and vowels and stuff like that. Um, for like if you have a speech impediment or something else going on, like Parkinson's or ataxia or some other reason you may have a speech impediment. But so so they can get patterns of like 300 people to they can make it adaptable for other people. It's really cool. So I use that a lot. So like they process that into like Google Home and Google search like online or anything. Well, Google's everywhere, so pretty much anywhere Google is, you can use it.
John? You're on mute, John.
I think that must be the saying that is said the most. You're on mute. Technology is good when it works. I've got one piece of equipment that I don't use that often, which is called a smart drive. It's like a little motor that hooks on the back of my wheelchair, and when I give a push, it will maintain that speed. And then to stop, I just tap my hand. Or unfortunately, if I'm using it to go uphill and I see you and I give you a wave, that motion is enough to turn the engine off. So then I have to start pushing it again. But around the flat and a little bit of inclines is really good. With my job, I'm often seeing what technology is out there to make life easier, and there's some really good technology out there. I'm a manual wheelchair user, and it's very interesting how the design hasn't really changed in 50 odd years. Yes, I'm now using a rigid frame, but if you want to go, you can get an ordinary standard folding wheelchair that is just about the same design as it was in the 60s. But so some technology is for wheelchair users is improved through the cycle industry, like bike races, Tour de France. They're coming out with carbon fiber. Well, now they're actually bringing out wheelchairs that are made of magnesium. But of course, they then have to put a coating on it because magnesium rusts. But there is the technology out there which is starting to make life a little bit easier. And hopefully with that, we'll be able to do more things.
Last question for everyone. So how does adaptability relate to independence? I think. Anyone?
I think it's essential for being independent. I mean, if you can figure out and make as much as possible adaptable, then you can totally be, I mean, there's levels of independence, correct? But, I mean, if you know the right tools to use, it can, and it also factors in like financially. what you can afford to help you be independent, depending on what level you require. But I mean, if you really, are not limited like I am, and you can, do most things and stand up, and you don't need that much adaptable things.
Anyone else?
I think, yeah, definitely what Crystal was saying, that being able to adapt to situations gives you that independence. And I must admit, when I had my accident, the built environment was not very wheelchair friendly. And so I used to have to adapt to situations that a non-disabled person would have to. And I think it sort of makes, I often say, if you need a problem solved, ask someone with a disability, because they've often worked out a way to do things. With my martial arts, I've had to adapt a lot of things, and people sort of say, how can you do that? But it's actually looking at things, working out an easy way to do things, or something that's going to be less tiring.
Kevin?
I think adaptability is a belief about yourself too. So it's a belief that you can adapt to any situation or anything that's.
Sorry, we lost you, Kevin.
Lost.
It's very fast, and everything changes around us fast, and our bodies are changing fast ourselves, and so I think that was my phone. I didn't even have the ringer on, so somehow maybe you've heard that. Sorry. So you can see I'm not adapting too well to things right now, but I'm independent. So it's kind of like it is how you think about it, and if you believe you can get into a situation and you'll figure out a way out of it, in travel or unknown places or unknown things, maybe you won't. We don't always succeed in what we try to do, but if we know that we we get into a problem, somehow we'll figure out a way out of it. And I think that adaptability and confidence turns in, as a equals independence.
Yeah, the number of times I've sort of been told, "Oh, you're lucky you can do that, John," but I don't think it's lucky. It's being adaptable. I've looked out how I can do something, and oh, you're lucky you can go and travel on a plane. Well, no, I've made sure that I'm fit enough, and I know that I've learned the skills to be able to do that independently. And I think sometimes Gavin sort of touched on it. If we listen to the experts or other people, sometimes we wouldn't do these things. If we're told, sorry, John, you're in a wheelchair, you can't do that. Or I was the first paraplegic in New Zealand to do a marathon. When I said to people I wanted to do a marathon in a wheelchair, oh no, sorry, you can't. You're a T5 paraplegic. Your body won't. So I listened to them for all of 30 seconds, if that, and went and did it. So I think it's up here that we have to be strong. We have to believe in ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
Yeah. And I think that kind of goes back to what I was saying at first, that we've been taught, and our family and friends have been taught, that we can only go so far and do things. But I think people are quickly finding out that that's not right, and they don't give enough credit, or they just that's what they were told and taught, so they don't have the mindset that anything else is possible.
Yeah. So, and does anyone else have anything to add?
No. Well, I was looking at Kelly when you went to your door, how you adapted the front door so that you can close it by just having the little bit of rope or cord on your door.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's little things tips that we pass on to people, to make things so adaptable and so easy to do. My brother in England is now having to use a wheelchair, and he's struggling to shut the door. I said to him, tie a bit of rope to the door handle. It's something as simple as that. And sometimes when you give someone that little piece of information, it's like you've given them a winning lotto ticket. All of a sudden I can do it.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we do things without thinking, because that's how we've adapted.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that I just do, and somebody will question me. I'm like, oh, well, this is just how I figured out how it could work for me. And
common sense.
Yeah.
We kind of figure it out.
Yeah. But I know I have picked up and stolen, borrowed tips from other people the same way that I see somebody, I'm like, oh, that's really smart.
Right. And that's what I was saying. As we're like the frontiers of disability, the older ones that have dealt with it. We pass on those tips, and they at first they might not get it because they're new to disability, but then it's like, heck yeah, I'm using that. I don't care.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes because we've been doing it for so long, we don't think about it until someone says, what adaptations have you got? And I'm actually thinking, what have I got?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time to have this little chat, and hopefully we help some people out there who are watching, and thanks a lot.
We should start having a handy hints page.
Yeah. Okay, have a good
Thanks,
day.
man.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Take care.